Greetings, everybody. It is Mark, the Bowlerhat Farmer, just to catch up with you guys and just to bring you up to kind of spec on where we are on this tour. As most of you know, Gloria and I are touring the UK at present, interviewing farmers, doing talks, looking at the food supply chain, looking at the farming community, what's going on for them. And whilst, yes, there is a lot of devastation going on, and while there is a lot of nonsense in the industry, it is fair to say that while we're travelling the UK, we are still seeing two major things. One, that there is farmers that are now starting to make the transition across from commercial farming, that have understood that that way isn't the way forward for the future. Because the only thing that gives them, if they produce a monocrop, is the ability to supply to someone in the food supply chain, whether that's a processing plant or into a supermarket directly. And they're starting to understand that isn't the way forward. So if that isn't the way forward, what is? Well, in my opinion, that is down to the fact, it's very bright here, is down to the fact that the farmers have got to start looking at multi-cropping. They've got to start looking at the coming away from monocrops. They've got to look at putting animals back on the farm for nitrogen to put in the ground. They've got to start looking at growing more beans, nitrogen-based things that will put the nitrogen back into the ground. One of the things that I've certainly learned on being out on the road is the some of the things that I've dismissed in the past, especially maize, as one of the crops what you can grow to put nitrogen back in the ground. Now being introduced to that by farmers that have been growing it for a few years and got a bit more of an understanding of how it's good for putting the nitrogen back in the ground and certainly for locking the carbon back in the ground. So it ticks some boxes for people. You start to understand there is a place for it. Certainly a lot of the lays now have got chicory and different things in them, dandelions and things, which are really good for nutritional supplements for the animals. So there is a place for it. One of the other things which I certainly dismissed in the past was these pretty flowers growing everywhere. But if you go there, the insects and the bees are there. So there is certain things going on, I think, in the farming community that I've dismissed. It's been great for me to go on the road and see these things physically in practice. The other thing which I think needs to be said is that obviously we're now 44, 45 talks in. Hundreds of people turning up. You know, we've had thousands upon thousands of people at these talks across that 45 talks. And we asked one question of the room, and always the same question: would anyone like to buy chemical-free food directly or indirectly from farmers? Indirectly, we class as farm shops, box schemes, or that could be a food hub system like Organity offer. There's lots of box schemes across the country. None more focused on the community, in my opinion, and I'm going to do a video later today about Organity and about how I see theirs as one of the big ways forward. Now, if the public are wanting change and they want to buy good quality chemical-free food direct from a farmer, indirectly, whichever way that looks, and hundreds of people put their hand up and say at every meeting, yes, please. We've never had one person not put their hand up. Bear that in mind. That says to me that thousands upon thousands of people are wanting that. Now, bear in mind, that's only the ones I'm talking to. That isn't every member of the public, you know. So we've got to get a bigger understanding, and, you know, certainly as the tour continues for Gloria and I, to be able to really look at, you know, how we in the future put together a stable food system. Because if we can't, we're in trouble. The public certainly want it. The farmers are transitioning towards it. What we've got to do is bring the two together via a system that works. You know, as much as I hate the supermarket system, the system works predominantly. It might not work in favour of the farmers, it might not work in favour of the public, but it does deliver food to the public. So what we've now got to work out is how we design a better system, one that's fair to farmers and goes above, fair to the public and goes above, and brings the two of them together to make sure there's enough food on everybody's plate, and brings the community back to this. And that's something I believe I've witnessed while we've been out and about. So we are in Worksop on Thursday evening, Rotherham Sunday evening. We head across to Cheshire to do some interviews for farmers, and to spend 2 days. And I genuinely feel blessed. There's 2 days we're spending with the Good Food Project in Cheshire at the Barbara O'Neill conference. That to me is going to be mind blowing to think that we'll be in the presence of someone with so much knowledge and experience. And there's lots of questions from my side on this food journey that I want to ask her, and I certainly know that Gloria has a mountain of questions, as she's a lot more into the nutritional side than I am. Whilst I understand good quality food, she understands the nutritional necessity. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what we can get out of that for our side, and hopefully we'll be able to, give Barbara a few bits of knowledge as well about the UK. So, guys, we're witnessing, without a shadow of a doubt, the most amazing transformation in food in this country. And above all else, the generosity of the human race in this country. And, we've travelled the entire length and breadth of the country. So far, we've been down to Land's End, been across to East Anglia, been up as far as Birdley, heading up to Newcastle this week, so we're going a bit higher. Later in the year, we'll be going to Cumbria and then all the way up into John O'Groats. People are putting us up at their expense. They're giving us a room. They're giving us dinner for the night. They're making sure we've got breakfast before we get away. They're making sure people are attending the rooms. They're making sure that we're well looked after. Now, whilst I believe I'm a really nice person, I don't believe that's the reason people are doing it. I don't believe they're putting Gloria and I up for that reason. I think they're putting us up because they genuinely believe what we're talking about. So to each and every one of the hosts we've had so far, all the ones we're going to have in the future, thank you so very much, because without you, we could not do this tour. We couldn't wake up the public, and we definitely could not speak to all these farmers. So thank you very much, guys. From the bottom of my heart, may it all continue.